Good afternoon, dear guests. Let me welcome you again here at the Prague European Summit. I hope that you all enjoyed the lunch break, not only for great food, but also for some informal discussions. Now we will continue with our program, and this program is another European chat. It means the shorter format that we are using here at the Prague European Summit. And this chat will be quite special because we will welcome here representatives of Future European Leaders Forum, which is forum which is gathering young professionals, students, young people who are interested in European affairs, and they want to be active and they want to boost their knowledge. And what's also very important, they want to make contact with other participants of Prague European Summit, and they want to become more smarter after all the workshops, for example, they are visiting during the Future European Leaders Forum. I think it is a great initiative. It is, I think, this time 5th years or 7th year, I don't know, of this initiative. I am also one of the alumni, so I can really recommend to everybody from the young audience who has not yet taken part to do it, because it's a very enriching experience. During this Future European Leaders Forum chat, we have a very special guest, and it's my pleasure to welcome here Vice President of the European Commission for Values and Transparency, Věra Jourová. And also it's my pleasure to welcome him, moderator of the FELF chat, Jiří Mach, FELF Honorary Chairperson and Director of Operations and External Relations of Institute of International Relations. And as it is Future European Leaders Forum chat, of course, we need to have on the stage the young leaders as well. So I would like to welcome here 3 representatives of this FELF forum to join us here on the stage, because they will present their policy papers here to all of us. So please join us. So I can see that the panel is ready to start. So I would like to give the floor to Jiří Mach so he can start with the moderation of this European chat. Enjoy the discussion.
Thank you, Aneta, very much for your warm words. It is my big pleasure to moderate this discussion, and also thank you, Aneta, for promoting the FELF values and spreading the word. As our alumni, I'm really happy to see that some of our alumni already has made it in the big world, so I'm really happy about it. And thank you very much, Vice President, for joining us. It's a great honor to have you here and to have you listen to our policy proposals from our young group. And without further ado, we have trained for this, so I hope they will deliver their best. We have worked together, or they have worked together in groups in advance of this Prague European Summit to be ready for this big presentation. So I'm really excited to see how they are going. So please, if you could, Attia, please start.
Thanks a lot. My name is Attia, and today I'm representing the Forward Resilience Group. We are facing a crisis, a geopolitical crisis that limits the EU's capacity to become a strong, assertive, and resilient leader. We face a threat of Russia, and this threat does not allow us to make the EU great. We would like to propose an action here, a brave and bold action. And this is to establish an nuclear energy cooperation between the EU and the 2023 package enlargement states. These are specifically Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. The reason why we chose these states is due to their proximity to the EU borders and due to the fact that these states are the most likely to start the acceleration process sooner than the other states. Moreover, as this is a policy proposal, we want to firstly limit the scope and make Georgia a future example for the South Caucasus region and Bosnia and Herzegovina an example for the Western Balkans. The EU already takes a lot of active actions in this region in order to ensure the democratic values and that the democratic institutions are established. But there is a large barrier over here, and this barrier is the energy dependence on Russian energy supplies. So the EU already has a comparative advantage in establishing the innovative and sustainable energy solutions, and we believe that nuclear energy specifically is sustainable, resilient, and inexpensive solution, which is why there are two steps that we think are needed to take for the EU to be active within these 4 countries. The first step is to grant the status of participating associate states within Euratom, as now Switzerland is the only non-EU state that is participating in Euratom. And this will allow to firstly start the development of nuclear industry, as within 3 of the 4 selected countries, currently nuclear industry is not present. So in Moldova, Georgia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, there are no nuclear power plants available. However, there are also no governmental regulations that would have limited it, meaning that the participation in the Euratom would start the establishment of the industry. And for Ukraine, on the other hand, this is a large opportunity to modernize the industry that already exists, as in Ukraine, the nuclear industry is 20% of the whole energy consumption, and as such, the EU can contribute towards these to be more modernized, sustainable, and also to make sure that the human rights are not neglected within the nuclear power plants that currently exist. So this step overall establishes a legal framework for the nuclear industry to start functioning within the states. And moreover, it is also beneficial for the EU because this will give a new step for Euratom to start being active again and to encourage innovation within the industry. Then this also then requires a further elaboration because the possibility of development does not explicitly mean that the countries have capacity. So how do we establish the capacity? This will happen by including the states in the Declaration on Small Modular Reactors 2030 that was suggested by European Commission this year and will come into action in the following years. We do believe that by including the states in the declaration, this will allow the technological investment to come to these countries and more innovation to be developed. Talking about the small modular reactors and why we chose specifically this technology, we believe that this is a technology that can replace old coal power plants and that can be a basis for the renewable energy to start within this region. So renewable energy is a long-term solution that we all want to see, but with the small modular reactors being established within the region, there is a possibility to achieve the independence from Russian energy supply faster. So at the end, these 2 actions are needed for establishing the energy security, for establishing the influence of the EU abroad, and for establishing the EU as the leader in climate change solutions that we all want to see. Lastly, to conclude my speech, I would like to tell that the policy brief was constructed by 5 people who all are present here. These are myself, Polina Penkina, Docen Kevin, Matt Strogan, and Stanislav Kopyta. Thanks a lot for thanks a lot for your work. Okay. Thanks a lot for your work, and I will be looking forward for the questions.
Thank you so much, Atiya, and thank you for the whole group as well. And now we're very eager to hear from Ms. Jourova what she has to say about this this proposal, whether it's feasible and whether we can maybe look forward to implementing it.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Atiya. It was also a very energetic presentation, so very well fine-tuned with the topic. I was promised to listen rather than speak, so I will react very quickly. First of all, I very much like the idea which has been framed by you by the geopolitical context, because this is what is at stake at this moment. I would not agree a little bit with your first sentence. How was it that geopolitical crisis might limit the abilities and capabilities of the EU? Might, but we must not have this happen or let this happen. That's why the Russian aggression in Ukraine caused that we speeded up the change of our energy sources, that we are very fastly moving towards the renewable energy sources, and that in fact in the first year of the invasion we got rid of majority of the necessary supplies from Russia. Also, one historical lesson: if you don't know who it is, do not be dependent on him. There was historical underestimation of what Russia is. And we made big mistakes in the past, that we became so dependent on Russia as for the energy supplies, so and fuel and gas and coal. So coming back to your project, geopolitical context, very good. I think that by this project we could hit two targets. First of all, to be more energy safe. I am glad that you speak about small modular plants, because I think that the term of the really big monstrous projects is over. Also from our strategies and the expert papers, you can read this. Having the neighbors and future EU member states being safe as for energy, I think that this is a very pertinent and very good strategic goal. The second thing, we need to invite the new countries to join the EU. And I am very much in favor of something I call staged enlargement. And we already proposed some sectors where there could be much closer cooperation between the enlargement countries and the EU. And energy sector belongs to those 7 sectors which we listed in our plan. So I think that this is very spot on, well chosen topic, well thought through idea, which, as you said, we have to further elaborate on. I'm quoting you. One thing needs to be said also at the end, and not as a discouraging comment, but I think that you were following the battles and very heated discussions in the EU, whether nuclear energy should belong to the recognized green technologies. At the end of the day, we supported this idea, so it belongs to the technologies which can be financed from public sources, but also we are encouraging private investors to invest in this, mainly the small modular plants. But there is always a little bit, but there is strange atmosphere around that, because I remember when we were discussing this, it was France and Czech Republic. I was also the representative of those who wanted to see nuclear energy to be listed. But the discussion is not over, I think, and we will over time have to discuss further, because of course the main line of the direction is towards the renewable energy sources. Thank you. But I'm applauding. Very good project, very good idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your honest feedback. Now I would like to give floor to Jonas and his group and his project.
Good afternoon, Ms. Jourova, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonáš Nepožitek, and today I will be presenting on our topic of economic resilience, boosting capacity building within the EU to increase sustainability. Before I start today, I would first like to thank my team for their innovative contributions and mostly their patience during the creation of the policy poster that you can see one floor below you. I would thus like to thank Manon Kuiper, I would like to thank Aline Gilles, and I would like to thank Miriam Berejkova. Imagine a future where the EU stands shoulder to shoulder with the US and China in the realm of sustainability. During the last decade, the EU has expanded generously in the realm of sustainable regulations with policy initiatives such as the EU Green Deal or Fit for 55 being the most prominent ones. And yet, despite these efforts, the EU is somehow still falling behind the US and China, which is presenting severe economic, climate-related, and geopolitical risks. Now, why is that? We have identified two reasons why that might be the case. Firstly, it is in many countries of the European Union hard to conduct applied research for young and ambitious scientists. In countries such as the Netherlands, for example, it is much easier to do an industry-funded PhD and thus combine research with practical experience than in some other countries like those of the eastern part of the EU. And this presents a huge problem because it makes the pool of ambitious and capable researchers to work on EU-wide problems smaller and also less diverse. Secondly, we believe that there is insufficient coordination within the EU between science, business, and policy. We have the JRC, the EU Joint Research Centre. However, that only spans across science and policy. It does not include businesses, which is ignoring an essential part and essential sector during the innovation process outside of the scope of the JRC. So what can we do? We have proposed two solutions to this problem. Firstly, we believe that the EU should promote EU-wide PhD programs, create an infrastructure which will enable researchers, young scientists from all countries of the European Union to participate on EU-wide projects. And we believe that there is money for it. I mean, you could say that you could always expand investments, but there is actually money for it, and we would like to take it from Horizon Europe. We would mostly like to divert the current 15 billion euro funding that goes into the climate, energy and mobility cluster of the Horizon Europe. And secondly, we believe that we should expand the scope of the EU JRC to include businesses. The EU could take inspiration, for example, from the UN's Science, Policy and Business Forum, which already has an infrastructure in place that is like the one that we want. And it also presents a green technology startup hub, which enables on the spot the creation of entrepreneurial initiatives to foster sustainable technologies within the EU. In summary then, we believe that to avoid severe climate-related, existential, geopolitical, economic risks, the EU should incentivize young people, young researchers, to go into industry and to do industry-funded PhDs. And we also believe that we should expand the scope of the science policy interface to include an essential part of the investment process, which is the private sector. Dear Ms. Jourova, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Jonáš. I see you prepared very well because your timing is very impeccable, so great job. So this is a proposal.
Energetic.
Yeah, exactly. And also it's with backing of finances, so very thought through. So I would like to very much hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I missed the moment when you presented the team. Where are you? Okay, there's three ladies. Okay. Good. I like to see ladies in the field of research and innovations, because what I hear from the innovation sector, from the industry, that they are missing talents. And there is also in IT sector, and I always hear the complaints, there are not enough young women studying these themes. But coming back to the project, I think that what you want to achieve is the proper goal. So I want to congratulate you for picking up a very, very important topic, and not only for the EU, but you mentioned the UN level, and also the competition we have now, we appear in as Europe with US and China. In fact, it is, and it is not competition in the proper sense of the word, because we want to transfer our economies into green shape or green color. And I always hear that the Europe should not be so urgent and so demanding on ourselves, that we are only, I don't know, contributing to the pollution by 9%, which is true. So why do you have to pioneer? Why do you have to introduce such hard legislation? And so always there was a demand that we should push the others, mainly China, US, but also India and Brazil, to come along with us and to do, in fact, the same thing. So what US and China are doing, financing the green technologies and innovations in this field, well, in fact, it is what we wanted them to do. So I would say there are always two sides of the same coin. But coming back to Europe, what we need is, and you rightly pointed out, money, people, motivation, and I would also say some regulatory pressure to go in some direction. As for the money, you rightly mentioned the horizon. Honestly, I don't know whether there are those 15, what was it, billion? I would have to check, euro. I would have to check it, but definitely we have a lot of money in the recovery fund, which is a huge basket of funding, which is distributed to each member state with a very strict condition that at least 33% of that money has to go to the green policy. And main part of this money should go to the innovations and into technologies. Why? Because the Green Deal is so ambitious program. Some say it's crazy, some say it's unfeasible, and so on. Anyway, there are concrete goals till 2030 and 2050. So, very ambitious program, which counts with deployment of technologies which do not exist at this moment. It's one of the fantastic features of that we trust so much our research, our science, our engineers, that they will be able to develop the proper technologies. And at the same time, of course, there is a little bit of a question marks. Yeah? Will it be possible? So we just cannot wait and see. That's why in that recovery fund, there is such big portion of money which is pushing the innovations forward, which is pushing each member state to do, I wanted to say his or her homework. Member states are it, no? I have a difficulty with the language. Well, Czech Republic is she, of course. And you also pointed out something, what's happening in the Netherlands compared with Czechia. You see that it belongs to the national efforts, and it depends on the national ability to use this funding on the projects which will contribute to the sustainable development goals. So this is not alibism. I hear you saying business research I hear you saying insufficient coordination through JRC. I will look into that. EU-wide PhD program, interesting. Thank you. May I sell it under my name? No, but seriously, I will look into that. Last comment. It's a big problem of Europe. This very long line between research and business. And I just had a roundtable with the Czech innovation companies, and again I heard the same thing, that we have such high risk avoidance in Europe that simply it does not help us in competition with, for instance, United States. When I look at United States, they are celebrating failures because next time I will do it better and I will show. In Europe, we are stigmatizing failure. And it does not contribute to flourishing and health innovative space. So I think there is also a lot of work in this direction. We have a lot of projects and funding which should help to make this closer link between applied research and business. It requires both sides, applied research to work on the things which are truly applicable in business. And business should be able also to require and request and order the research on demand, which will push them forward as the business innovators. So there is a lot of work on the concrete projects, on also strengthening the motivation to go in the direction. I remember how desperate I was in COVID pandemic when we saw in the United States the BARDA program working full speed. In fact, here is the research, those who are developing the vaccines, and here are the manufacturers. And this very close bridge and quick way from research to manufacturing. In Europe, I can tell you it was a hell of a job to, first of all, to take a risk and invest 2 billion in research of vaccines in the EU, and then to find the manufacturing capacities. And it was the Commission which was doing that, and we were in fact substituting this kind of agency or coordination mechanism, which also you call for. Didn't I say I will react quickly? Enough, but congratulations and thank you very much.
We're very happy to hear your opinions and to hear some stories from also these tough times that were.
I have many more stories.
But thank you very much for your honest feedback, Jonas. I think you can be happy about what you heard, and maybe you try to pursue it first on a national level. Then maybe you should try to EU, and maybe if you're taking advisors for some education department, you know where to reach us. Last but not least, we have saved the best for you. For the last person, we have Katerina, presenting their policy proposal on behalf of their group.
Yes, thank you. So, dear Ms. Yurova, dear audience, my name is Katerina. I'm a Ukrainian student, and I'm proud to speak on behalf of Political Resilience team. So, my team is quite diverse. I have a student from Russian opposition, Valeria, have Ukrainian student Yuri, Polish prominent student Zuzana, and one of the leaders of civil society of North Macedonia, Alexander. Yes. So in March 2022, Ukrainian society was shocked by Volodymyr Zelensky's announcement of Ukraine's capitulation. And what was that? It was a deep fake. It was a video impersonating Volodymyr Zelensky, an open political manipulation from the Russian side. It should be mentioned that the deepfakes, the artificially modified videos, are not only encircling the European Union, injecting foreign trigger disinformation, but also eroded from within. We have recent examples of the Polish opposition party using the deep fake technologies, Platforma Obywatelska, and also the example of the Flemish Socialist Party. The 2024 European election is at risk as the use of deepfakes is accelerating, and it might change the behavior of voters and can influence the election outcomes. With the Russian invasion of Ukraine and its war close to the eastern flank of the European Union, the cascading impacts of deepfakes start at the individual level and can reverberate on the societal level. There is still sufficient time to develop technologies to prepare a legal framework and security tools. So our three recommendations, I will start with the first, is to require political parties to disclose any kind of digital alteration of their content. Of any kind of digital alteration of their content. Yes, so the political parties participating in the 2024 European election should add watermarks or use other technologies. The European Union should place limitations on dissemination of misleading deepfakes in order to protect its citizens. At the annual report of the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity reveals that the main victims of deepfakes are individuals, and it is in 47% of cases. The second is to elaborate a generally accepted definition of deepfake. The existing legal basis doesn't provide a precise definition of deepfake and lacks clarity on it. The European Union took various steps to counter the artificial intelligence disinformation. For example, the European Rapid Alert System for disinformation will be fully operational until the 2024 European elections. The European Union Artificial Intelligence Act, the first comprehensive artificial intelligence law, is not expected to come fully into force until the 2024 elections. It will be a possibility for the European Union to increase its digital role at the international arena, as this legal basis hasn't been elaborated by other political powerhouses. For example, in the US, there is no federal legislation on deepfakes. And the third one is to expand research and innovation in security tools. Security tools should be instituted to ensure that every individual and every organization will be able to identify deepfake. The European Union should increase financing for research in security tools to provide a proper infrastructure to support and enhance work of international networks and the networks of European researchers, as for example the Network of Excellence. In the long term, this digital innovation will contribute to the citizen empowerment and the advent of digital democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we are very happy to hear, because this is quite your topic, so we're happy to...
This is mine, yes. Well, first of all, thank you and congratulations, Katarina, because this was very well identified as for which kind of problem we have. Not only that, but also where might be those solutions, which is also important for me as a feedback of whether we are not leaving any gaps or loopholes. You are, Katarina, the only person I know who used the words digital democracy. And I am using that from time to time, and then I see that, oh my God, I have to explain what I mean by that. But we live our digital reality already. And also our democratic processes are being digitalized, and this process always contains a lot of beneficial results, but also some risks. So coming to deepfakes, honestly, I am surprised that it's not used more frequently. I am not calling for that. Yeah. but it was indeed the case of abuse of President Zelensky's face. We saw the deepfakes used now recently in Polish and Slovakian elections. We will see more of that. We saw Pope Francis in the
Fluffy jacket.
yes in the jacket. He was so sexy on that picture.
So some deep fakes make do us good.
No, some deep thoughts now in my head. But you are right that it belongs to that kind of technologies which could really cause a big problem to democracy and fair electoral processes. So what we are doing, first of all, I am pushing over years those who are developing these technologies, that once they enable this to be used, they need to develop at the same time the antibodies. Because AI is of that nature that once it exists, once it works somewhere, it flies somewhere through some networks, it can only be AI to kill it. It's not for the human beings. Yeah, we are at that. Do you agree, Katarina?
Yes,
Yeah.
we do agree.
Yeah, that's why I think that the first thing is to request from the technological companies to develop these killers at the same time. And this is something which we are now requiring, or we will require it through the law, which is called AI Act. And we are now working on it. There are these kind of requests, and it is a big difference, I can tell you, between my plea to the technological companies, could you please do something, compared with the situation when we have the law. Yeah, so we are approaching this more stable situation. Also in the Digital Services Act, which is already in force for the very large online platforms, and it will become enforceable also for smaller platforms from February next year, there is a strong request that the technological companies will take appropriate measures to mitigate the risks in election manipulation. And we are not specify what it means, but in practice we have in mind that usage of AI in combination with disinformation in high intensity in the pre-election time might really cause that the result of such elections will be very, very questionable. In other words, it will be the end of free and fair elections. And we desperately need the technological providers, the providers of the space to be on spot and to react and to guarantee that such heavyweight manipulation will not happen. So this is AI Act, which is still not in force, then this Digital Services Act, which is in force. You mentioned rightly so rapid alert system. We are discussing that before the EU elections to be prepared, to be triggered. It's for the situation when some very dangerous piece of disinformation is flying over Europe, and we need coordinated action from different member states. I have to say that the European elections might be and should not be endangered, but we see, of course, clear risks for all other kinds of elections. And what I am describing to you will be applicable to any campaign. Two last comments. You rightly require the watermarking because we insist that when you read text or see some images, you should be informed that this has been produced either fully or partly by artificial intelligence. It also applies to the deepfakes, so the people should see it. And we will be very stubborn, and we will want to enforce it. It's also part of the AI Act. I had a funny debate with one of the bosses of Netflix 2 days ago. And the lady told me, I heard about your request that there should be the notification, this is AI production. We managed to use this technology to make Robert De Niro young again. Can you imagine, we will put some disclaimer on his new face that this is AI. Well, okay, so I was bargaining with her a little bit, and I said, so let the notification is somewhere below his face. And of course, the part of the bargaining was that they will make my face younger. So it's the watermarking, so it's in the making. But thank you very much for your impulse, because it's important for me that we might go in the right way, right direction. Last comment, you said that the political parties should guarantee this watermarking when doing the political advertising.
I said that the European Union should place limitations in order to protect citizens, but also, let's say, require from political parties to insert, to add watermark to their content.
Yeah. So we go much broader, because we require it for every AI production. And as for the political parties, which probably will not try to sell shoes or furniture but themselves, so here I have in mind the political advertising, political marketing. We just agreed on the regulation which is called Political Advertising Regulation, which requires everybody who is placing online the political ad, which is paid by somebody in order to influence the voters' decision, to put there the notification that this is the political ad paid by somebody to influence the elections. I think it is a very necessary request, because when the producers of cosmetics or for whatever other goods have to announce this is commercial, I think that for political ad, it has to be there as well. And it's not only when political parties are advertising. It's for anybody else, because it's the companies, it's the NGOs, everybody who has some political program which is paid should notify that. So it's just to complete that we are working also on this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have, yeah. Yes, great. If we may stick by this topic for a little longer, we still have 10 minutes. There is a question from the audience about AI and its influence on upcoming elections. And if you would maybe try to guess, or maybe you already have some analysis for that, which countries are more at risk, and which elections are at risk because of threats of AI? Can it be defined like this, or is it a EU-wide?
I don't have data regarding AI. Rather, I have data which countries are more under the pressure from foreign propaganda, namely Russia. And it's easy, the easter you go, the stronger it is. But already we see that there is a big potential influence on Germany, which has been chosen as the target country. And we will see. It's an experiment, because you said that the political parties, Katarina, you said that the political parties should behave somehow. I think that they could also make some voluntary commitment that they will not use these dirty methods. Yeah? And to be transparent about that, because I think that it's also something the voters would like to see, no? That I am the chair of the political party which hereby declares that we will not use deepfakes, we will not use trolls for spreading the messages, we will not do this and that. Wouldn't it be fair? Or are we gradually becoming used to dirty, aggressive campaigns with hidden manipulation? I think that now it's time to say no, but it will be also very, very interesting to see how the political parties are using or not using these very, very problematic means. But you asked me whether there is data. No.
No data. But you know how it goes with attribution in the cyberspace, so that's always complicated. And also, those who play nice will be maybe at in a worse position than those who do not. But
Who lie better?
And who lies better? Yeah. And so for the last few minutes, maybe let's sway away from this very tragic topic, and maybe let's talk a bit about the role of young people in politics, because we have the representation of young people, and I'm really happy that they participated, that they did really well in the program. Would you care to comment a bit on the role of young people in politics, and maybe your personal point of view?
My personal point of view is that there is not enough of it. And I would really like to see the young people more active in 3 ways. First of all, be demanding citizens. Shout, ask questions, be cheeky. I think that the social... cheeky, drzí, jako, jo. The social media, it's going to be abused by so many ways. But it is the source or channel for direct communication. So be demanding. I have an experience from all over Europe in the countries where young people are active and demanding, or in general where citizens are demanding, democracy works well. Because there are 2 things being also fulfilled top down. Transparency, so the political sphere is more open because they know that the people anyway will shout that they want the information, and accountability. Yeah? And so be demanding, be active. The second thing is 3 things, yeah? Go to cast your vote. And I really believe that if we change the electoral systems in the EU, that there is the possibility from the age of 16 and do it electronically, the political situation and maybe the societal situation will change. That it will more reflect the need of young generation. Because now, when you look at it with the traditional forms and 18 plus, well, it is still the governance done by people of my generation. But I want to leave soon, yeah, so I will be off. And so from 16, electronic vote or the digital vote, but the interest to go and cast the ballot, it's very important. The third thing, and here question mark, I think that the young people should not be discouraged by stifled structures and unfriendly atmosphere in the political parties. Go there and chase the old ones out, including me.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have anything to say about youth engagement? Do you have a story maybe to share? Anybody tried to get involved in politics? Natia?
I think I want to share a story of how youth engagement in Ukraine started being active with the full-scale invasion. So, as we have heard from Ms. Alexandra Matveychuk before, Ukrainian society has got united with the full-scale invasion of Russia, which was not expected at all. But together with that, I think that the youth has shown their power and has shown that they want to have an independent Ukraine within the borders that include all of its territory. And as such, I think that it is just amazing to see how many young people are involved in volunteering, in political activism. A lot of new political leaders, I would say, are within the range of 20, 25 years old. And that is absolutely amazing to see. And I think that even the people who are coming abroad are still continuing political activism in the way that they come to EU, they see that there are certain advantages here, and they promote these advantages within Ukraine. So I think that at the end, the message that I want to say here is that even if you see certain problems, this should be a push for you to act rather than to be depressed, pessimistic about it. And probably young people are the ones who can bring this optimism in and who can bring actions even when it sometimes seems that everything is quite bad. Yeah.
Sorry, maybe not only optimism, but knowledge. In this digital transition, I bet the younger generation understands better what's going on. Yeah, so knowledge.
And my question is, no, I know, but I asked them if they have a story to share.
I mean, for me, it's not really a story, but I think that what you said with the optimism and whatnot, it really nicely connects with the paradigm that you, Ms. Jourova, talked about when I spoke about innovation and the difference between the US and in Europe. I think that the notion of seeing like failure as something bad in itself can also be applied to politics, and even if a government is elected that you potentially do not like or is more populist than you would like, it is also seen as a mistake. And I think that changing the paradigm of optimism and changing the paradigm of seeing failure as something bad, but rather seeing it something good and as an opportunity to improve institutions, can be applied both to the private markets, and which will incentivize investments and whatnot, but also to the political sphere. So I think it can be beneficial in both arenas, both the economic one and the political one.
So you think that the lower risk avoidance is one of the attributes of young generation, yeah?
Right, but also combined with the notion of responsibility and accountability. So if you're just less risk avoidant, you can be reckless. But if you combine it with the heavy weight of responsibility that is on your shoulders as a young person, I think it can bear more fruit than if you choose just one of these options separately.
So I would react on what you said about the knowledge. So here I would say totally agree with you, because the unity of Ukrainians is also based on the knowledge. If the Ukrainian society and the European society also has a collective memory is also a part of knowledge. So by absorbing the information, by distinguishing the information, and the collection of the information is the basis for not only, let's say, we were talking about the artificial intelligence, but also for the existence of society. And that, I would say, it was, well, here also to thank you that I know that the Czech Republic has hosted a lot of Ukrainians, and the university provided a possibility for Ukrainian students to pursue the master's degree or bachelor's degree, and that my deepest thanks to all of you. And also, yeah, the fact that the knowledge should be a name for all of us, as it prevails, and it is the main basis of the society and the unity and the maybe possible victory, well, our hope of Ukraine.
Thank you very much. Also to encourage me to give words to the young people. Obviously, that's what's needed. So my final question, I guess, is what will make the old generation or the current structures listen to the youth? Is it, should we show power, strikes, stuff like this?
I don't have the English word for it. Is it pud sebezáchovy? How is it?
Self-preservation?
No, I think that the smart older generation representatives have to admit that our recipes and our solutions, which we can deliver with all the wisdom and experience, might be limited, and that we have to invite younger people for the sake of the good of the whole society. And I think that this is our big opportunity to do it now. At the same time, to expect from the young generation that Katarina just spoke about the knowledge, that the young generation also has the ability to listen to the older ones. Because there should be some kind of humility or humbleness, something like Socrates' I know that I don't know, this kind of instinct. I think the combination of older and younger generation working on common big things, be it in politics or in industry or in other sectors, can be only very, very useful.
So,
especially because we are in the transition. I would not speak about it like that if we would have been going through very stable time, which needs rather genial maintainers than developers. This era needs developers, not adventurous developers. And I think that here the combination might be extremely important.
So, could we sum it up with the intergenerational dialogue? That's something what we need, and what should we strive for, everybody? And I hope we did that today, a little bit at least, with your presentations. And thank you very much for all your valuable input. Thank you for meeting with us, and thanks to all you guys for putting together your papers. As Jonas mentioned, they can be seen downstairs where the coffee breaks are. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with anybody, if you see it interesting. We'll be happy to provide context and information. So thank you so much, all of you, and please join me in thanking.